pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes from March 20th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Pierce. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Nothing under awards and proclamations. Public hearing, nothing. No bid openings. We're moving right along. Visitors and delegations. We have the Lake Region Heritage Center, but Lisa's unable to attend, but So-
We attached, she sent out an email, and so I attached that to the agenda, so you should be able to see her update there. And then would just request the quarterly release of funds of $9,928.50.
okay, is there a motion for that?
Motion.
Commissioner Hatch moved.
Second.
Commissioner Hamry second. Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins? Aye. Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Hamry?
Aye.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye. Motion carries. Commission portfolios, Commissioner Hamry.
Mike, anything for utilities?
Nothing for utilities, Commissioner, unless you have questions for me.
Short and sweet, unless anybody's got questions.
Okay. Commissioner Hatch.
Mike, anything from sanitation?
Nothing for sanitation, unless you have questions, Commissioner.
Nothing. Rob?
Just two quick things. Domestic Fall Committee, we're looking to meet next Wednesday. And hopefully we'll have an ordinance for the commission to consider at the first meeting in May. And then still just working on prepping for the Board of Equalization meeting next Thursday. So that's all I got.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Robbins.
Streets?
One thing under streets, public waste supervisor position is open. We'll be working to adjust that job description. We sent some information off to our human resource consultant. It's going to take a little while, obviously, to bring somebody on board. Within that department, we also have an opening, entry level opening that's been being advertised for some period of time, and we are not getting a lot of applicants. So with the two openings in that department, obviously we have some snow coming. Talk to the other departments, coordination and things. But within the street department, we'll be using a senior operator to help fill that position for the public waste supervisor. Basically, the number two within that department will be assuming many of the duties of that supervisor. And with that, I looked at that position. In the past, we've given a little bit of a stipend for people that are filling the role of their supervisor. And in looking at that, with his position, if he were to assume that job as the supervisor, he would be promoted to that, and there would be a $527 per month increase in wage. And I would like the commission's approval to provide that stipend for that position in the interim while we bring in a person on board for that position.
Don't we already have somebody that's already at a supervisor level position in the streets? He was once there and kept his raise and got moved to another position. Could he not just assume it and we wouldn't have to stipend anybody?
Well, we'll have an opening in that position, so that opening will be advertised, and then whoever applies for that position would be interviewed, and we go through the process.
Yeah.
So I'm not following you, Commissioner.
Well, the previous predecessor to Leroy,
That was Dennis, right?
Dennis,
I don't like to use names.
didn't he move over to cemetery with his same pay grade as he had as a supervisor in streets?
He did not. No, the supervisor position, that's a grade 15, and the position out at the cemetery, that's a grade 9. So he moved from a 15 back to a grade 9. When
He did go back to a 9.
He did, yeah. Yeah, that, it's only authorized, each department is authorized positions based on the commission's review and approval, as outlined in our policy manual. And so there was an additional position created. So when he vacated that 15 position, he went back to a grade 9. He was higher on the scale as a grade 9, but he went back to a grade 9. Okay. So it's nothing that the city hasn't done before as far as provide that stipend. Typically, when a supervisor position is vacant and other people are assuming those responsibilities, not only having to do your own job, but you're really trying to fill part of this position, we have that stipend. So he would still be at the same grade as he currently is. He's at the same step as he is. He would still receive that same hourly rate. He would just be receiving some additional compensation for the interim time until we bring somebody else on board.
Mike and I talked about it earlier, and I think he can explain it well, that we're just gonna, the interim and the level of pay will be equal to what he would have got if he got the position, like he said. And it just seems like a rational, common sense thought. We've done a few things in the past, so we probably didn't think through as clearly. This one seems fairly straightforward in my mind. We're not going over the top, overcompensating him.
And he'll revert back once you hire somebody.
It's simply a stipend. So he's not changing, we're not looking at changing his grade. We're not looking at changing his step. It's just an additional compensation that would be an additive to salary until such time as we bring somebody else on board to fill that supervisory role and, put enough time in with the new supervisor so that it acclimates to that position a little bit.
He will accept that? I mean, I understand he didn't want to apply for the position. Or is he
We have-
thinking about it?
Yeah, we don't have the position open and advertised yet, so I don't know who's going to apply. But when I visited with him, it just seems like when you're assuming those responsibilities, we have to make sure that we're taking care of our people because there's a lot more responsibility there. Let's face it, there's a lot of responsibility with the public waste supervisor. And, we have a lot of snow coming. There's, that has to be coordinated, worked through, and make sure that we have right people in the right positions.
Did he want to assume it, or was he told he got to assume it?
We had conversations.
Highly
And
encouraged.
Well,
some people don't
Yeah.
like that role, but
Mhm.
what we're doing is carving up that position, right? So there's emails, there's paperwork, there's the phone calls. Those phone calls are forwarded to my cell phone. The emails are forwarded to my email. The POs are, those sorts of things. So we'll do some of the duties, but the boots on the ground work that has to be completed on a daily basis. You need somebody to make sure that they're ramrodding that, and he'll be doing that role. Yeah, so he and I will be coordinating very closely over the course of the next 2 months.
Yeah, like, all I can do is, I'm behind Mike on it. I think it's easily explained and it's fair.
Is that a motion?
So I'll make a motion to do the comp stipend for the interim time.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Robbins and second by Commissioner Pierce. Any further discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Hammer.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President Mo.
Aye. Motion passed.
Anything else in the streets?
We'll be working on the equipment list and doing those things. As far as the interim, we all know that there's snow coming. There's a high variability in how much snow that's going to be, but we'll be pre-positioning some equipment and should be ready for it. And I don't see any issues. Equipment's ready to go, and we'll see what happens. It all is the timing of the event and what happens. We'll see how it goes. That's all I have for streets. Commissioner, that's just
Anything
questions.
in engineering?
We'll be working on a pre-construction meeting very soon for the Stromquist project, and then we have other items on the agenda. As far as the full capital improvement plan and that review, we'll be talking about part of it later on the agenda, but a full review is expected at the next meeting. That's all I have.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Pierce.
Chief Bennett. Well, we're just also preparing for the storm. We've talked with Mike about a few things, and we're gonna have a few extra personnel just in case the guys can't get through town as quickly as normal. And then we're starting the transition process to our new software. We're gonna get the contract in, get that signed, and then start the data transfer. So
You have it backed up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Learn from experience.
Everybody have backups, I hope.
Yeah.
None of that.
Other than that, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Please, chief.
No, we don't have anything for you today.
Outstanding.
I mean, I do, but I don't.
You do, but you don't. Okay.
I don't really want to hear.
Okay. All good, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had some exciting things that taken place and one, I just got, yeah, maybe one thing I want to mention is that we did have a break-in here last Friday.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of great teamwork that our people did. Within 24 hours, we had the thing solved and people are there. So it was
Congratulations.
really, no, well, it's not, it's them, you know, it's
Yeah.
those for people that just do the great job. So it was pretty neat to see. Anyway,
Well, when
that's
they
it.
take guns, it's concerning.
Yeah, exactly right.
Thank
Has
you.
there been any contact with the owner about locking them up or instead of leaving them in plain view? Just out
You know
of
what? You
curiosity.
can't really dictate to anything like
can't.
that. You know what I mean?
I didn't know if there was any laws that,
No, that govern that. No.
yeah.
He did have an alarm system there, which really did impede the person. But you know, you would think something like that, you'd have some higher end security, especially when it comes to videotaping or whatnot. And that's supposed to be coming because of this event. So the alarm system within itself did do a great job. We responded within 3 minutes from the time that it happened. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good enough.
thank you.
You bet. Spencer.
Mayor, members of the commission, just want to give you guys an update on a few things that are going to be coming before you in future weeks ahead. Over the last few months, city officials and the mayor, myself, and Forward Devils Lake have been engaged by Nodak Electric regarding their interest in exploring a franchise agreement with the city of Devils Lake. I'm told that this was a conversation that occurred about 6 or 7 years ago. And in that conversation, the city had continued to stay with their one franchise agreement as far as electric utilities goes in Otter Tail Power. And we've had a large portion of the city commission members turnover since that last conversation, as well as city officials and other community leaders. And so, I feel it's appropriate to bring the item up for discussion again and talking with the mayor. And for full awareness, we've spoken initially with both Nodak and Otter Tail Power, so they know that the conversation is going to occur. And both have been extremely professional and matter of fact, and wouldn't expect anything else to change moving forward. And so at a future meeting, we'll have Nodak here, and they'll have a chance to tell their story. And it's because it's a public meeting. Otter Tail will always have the opportunity to tell their story as well. And so really just want to give you the awareness that there'll be a conversation at future meetings. And, if the city does choose to move forward with something different, and I'm guessing it would be quite an extensive process, and we'll have to work with the city attorney heavily. But we'll brief all that if the time comes. And one of the things I just really want to stress is the importance. We're going to make sure that, you guys as policymakers are making policy decisions, utility providers are telling their story, and staff is we're doing our jobs and making sure that all the informational, logistical, procedural, and things to be considered are known throughout that conversation. And as we have those conversations, we'll make sure that that the appropriate policymakers throughout the process are engaged as those extraneous things come up. And so that also brings up the likelihood that the commission will also have the opportunity to consider if they want to explore the possibility of incorporating franchise fees for electric utilities or natural gas utilities into our overall revenue streams for our general fund. Currently, we have those fees for our cable video providers in Midco and North Dakota Telephone Company. And so there's just many factors at play with all of this. And we as staff just want to make sure that we're well tied together for these discussions, and just wanted to give you a heads up that that's going to be coming your guys' way at future meetings. Also, talking about the Park District project, going to have a conversation at a future meeting here on how we want to move forward regarding the financing and whether we want to pursue those traditional bonding strategy, or there might be a way to do this to everyone's benefit. So we'll have that for you guys as well coming up. And then just a quick update on some state legislator stuff. I was on a statewide call on Friday where they were talking about infrastructure funding at the state level and some things that the state's looking with the legacy fund, infrastructure revolving loan fund. And, traditionally they had a large set of money set aside for these 2% interest loans the cities can seek for infrastructure funding. And I believe that, they're looking to reduce that, as I don't think it was utilized to the level that they thought it was, given the low interest rates that were, over the last 10 years. There was opportunities outside of that avenue. And now that interest rates are rising, that 2% looks like a really attractive number. So it's just something that the league is continuing to talk with legislators at. So we're just listening closely. And if there's any feedback that we need to provide, we'll do that. So that's all I have for you.
Okay. Jack, do you have any, excuse me, Jack?
No real updates for me other than going to be amending one of our DUI ordinance, probably a few years old. And that's just to kind of clear up some things on the procedural. And it'll also bring us more up to date with the Century Code. So you guys can look for that here in the near future. And then no big updates from there. Still got some other things in the works that we've discussed in the past.
Okay, well, thank you. Everything well with your family? Everything good?
Yep, good. Getting
Good.
better. Yeah,
Good.
that's why, sorry, I
Yep.
normally would be more dressed up. But
No, that's okay. I understand. I just glad to hear it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else under portfolios that we need to address? If not, we'll move on. Old business, we have the award of the project. Mike, is that?
Within the commission packet is a memo related to the award. As the commission's aware, bids were open for the water main replacement project. Unfortunately, we only received one bid. That one bid was about 25% higher than our estimate for that project. We all understand things are just much more expensive. We tried to estimate for the increase in labor costs as well as the increase in material prices. The contractor that did supply the one bid has completed a significant amount of work for water main replacement for the city in the past. We've been very happy with their work. So with that, if we're going to move forward with the project, we had submitted a cost share request through the Department of Water Resources, the State Water Commission down in Bismarck. And with their cost share, they could provide 60% reimbursement for the construction costs. They don't reimburse us for our engineering costs, but they do reimburse us for our construction costs up to 60%. We sat through their preliminary meeting where they have a committee that meets and makes recommendations to the full Water Commission. The Water Commission will meet next Thursday on the 13th. Then we'll find out for sure whether or not we're going to secure that funding. The memo before you recommends that we make an award of that project to Kemper Construction, who was the low bid for that project. We recommend the award contingent upon the city receiving grant funds for that work. It's a significant dollar amount that we're talking about for those grant funds. We're looking at grant funds of $1.7 million. And our cost then would be about 1.6 million total. So recommend the city commission award the contract to Kemper Construction in an amount of $2,687,426.50, contingent upon the Department of Water Resources approving our cost share request. And we should know that next Thursday.
So we don't get from the water resource, then we're not going to do the project.
Correct.
And then
We would do the project next year. We would apply for grant funds again. And once we secure those grant funds, then we
So we
receive
keep
it.
kicking it down the road, and pretty soon, instead of maybe a $3 million project, we're looking at 5, and then we're down to 3 with the money.
Yeah, I think the recommendation before you is the best approach at this point. And I'm fairly confident in visiting with the Water Commission that we'll receive the grant funds. But it's just so much money that if for whatever reason, something crazy happened and we didn't receive the grant funds, I think that we'd have a very good chance of getting it if we applied again. So when you're looking at $1.7, $1.8 million, that has a significant impact on our capital improvement plan that we'll be talking about later. So if we don't have that amount, then what other projects are getting, if we're using it all on water main replacement, what other projects aren't we doing? So it seems like the way forward at this point.
You have a recommendation?
I'd make a motion to approve the water main placement project as Mike stated, with the contingency that we get our grant from the State Water Department.
Got a motion by Commissioner Robbins to
I'll second.
approve it. Commissioner Pierce, second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Hamry?
Nay.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
President Moon?
All right. Motion carries. Okay, consent agenda. There's nothing. New business. Ooh, it's the airport. All right, you guys. But I'll turn it over to Spencer to
If I
kind
could
of
just-
address it
We'll
first.
just preamble a bit out of the last meeting where this opportunity for the investment was briefed. We left saying that we get the capital improvement review group together and update and plan out the city's infrastructure needs for the next few years. We did that in making sure that the city can meet its responsibilities and its needs as far as capital investments first, and then, we're able to look outward. And so from the draft review plan presented with the kind of the funding framework, provided we can be confident that the city's able to financially meet its infrastructure project needs and has the strategic flexibility that should the city commission want to make this investment at the airport, we can do so without overhauling the projects currently in the pipeline. It doesn't restrict our ability to address and invest in some of those wants. Certainly it does, but we have the yes, 100% got to have it down as far as the road, water line, and sewer improvements throughout the city. And so now with the funding framework and the draft, as far as the financial projections that we took, it's that we would allocate 31% of our sales tax to infrastructure with 2% growth in the city's portion of that sales tax revenue. Currently, we're allocating 26%. And from looking back, I think that there was plans to up that to about 32, and we looked at 31, and we think that we can use those funds at that level. The Prairie Dog municipal infrastructure bucket, we're going to operate under the understanding that the second year of each biennium with no additional funds received beyond that, which would mean that we would get $2.5 million in every odd numbered year. So that's what we're projecting outward. Like we got the $1.15 million this year. That was kind of the icing on the cake on top of that 2.5. So we're planning for just the 2.5 to get. And then lastly, that we received the 60% cost share with State Water Commission for the upcoming water main project. So then if that doesn't happen, then that project's going to get probably postponed and reevaluated. And so this is why we bring it to you in draft form tonight, specifically is that State Water Commission cost share. If we get that, then we'll brief this in detail at the next meeting for your final approval. If we don't get it, then we'll reevaluate and do the same. So mainly tonight, we just want to show you that we've comprehensively and collaboratively reviewed and analyzed our needs in advance of consideration of this investment at the airport. And I think lastly, to wrap it up, it's important that everyone sees this, that this is a big investment into our Lake Region transportation infrastructure. And this isn't, the city giving away money, or this is an investment in critical infrastructure. And we know that what's good for the city is good for the airport. What's good for the airport is good for the city. We're very well integrated operationally, probably more than Scott and I care to some days, but we grind it out and we know that we need each other. And so,
And it's not just us either.
Yeah.
It's Camp Grafton. It's
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of entities involved. Camp Grafton would suffer hardcore.
and so I think lastly, and this is the way I chose to kind of look at this, is just for your guys' consideration that, although it's because of some cost overruns and inflation, If you would have said 3 years ago that, hey, you can get $17 million of outside money invested in your airport, you can come up with a $1.1 million local match, it'd have been, it would have been something very, very, something to consider deeply. And so that's what's before you. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Cruz on the airport. But first, Mike, did I miss anything on the capital improvement plan that needs to be said? The draft?
I think we're there today. It's more talking about the funding part of it, and then we'll know more and do the final review at the next meeting.
And then President Moe, Commissioner Robbins, for the capital improvement plan review group, if you guys had anything to say, I would obviously turn it to you.
No, I think I'm comfortable where we're at. It looked like you said, we're not over budgeting on a revenue side. If nothing else, we're under budgeting. So if that comes in, we'll be in a better spot potentially. And like I say, we had a list of things we wanted to get done in 5 years. It looks like we can pay for them all. And with a little bit of money there to do some of those want-to projects, which could include doing something with City Hall, not overhauling it, but making some nice improvements here.
Yeah. And I'm choosing to kind of think, and obviously it's in the city commission's vision, but I would strongly advocate for, if that extra tranche of money, whether it be $500,000 or $1 million in prairie dog infrastructure money comes, to really look at using that money, since we feel like we've taken care of the meat and potatoes, must have projects with this current projection, to use that for, enhancing some of our public facilities that are due. So we'll leave that for you.
Well, I absolutely agree with the airport. It's vital to our community and the progression that we are going with potentially new medical complex and et cetera. So it's without question that it's something that we have to do our best to try to support. And as far as I'm concerned, we got to do it, but it's huge. But
Yep.
Anything Scott or Dennis would like to add, or?
He covered it pretty well. I appreciate you guys giving it consideration, and I guess that's what we're here before the court to see if there's been a decision made on that and whatever.
I understand we're not going to do any action on it tonight, but we'll do it for the next meeting.
I think action needs to be taken so that they can get the application to
yeah.
the State Aeronautics Commission in time.
Yeah, I think that's what we said. Let it be ready at this
What are
meeting.
you looking for?
1.126.
Yeah.
million.
269.
I've got the exact
5,880.
number here.
I'll
you
make
got
a motion for the 1.1,
2695880.
that number there.
I
Okay.
second that
We
motion.
have a motion by Commissioner Hamry and second by Commissioner Pierce. Any other discussion?
Well,
Okay.
my biggest concern is, and worry, maybe not concern, but if we have cost overruns, anybody have a sense there? I mean, it seems like every project has cost overruns and there is no money there right now. Do you got any thoughts on that, or?
Well,
We kind of do. Right now on the construction of our terminal, we have just about a $300,000 cost overrun contingency. With what we're looking, pardon me,
see, which isn't a lot.
which isn't a lot in a
$17
$14 million project. But we think we've got it pared down to the bare bones on a lot of it. The nice thing about this project that you guys are hoping to approve tonight is we've already secured the funding for the first $600,000, which has already been awarded to Strata. And now Strata has been able to maintain their bid until June of this year without raising it. So that's a bonus for us too, because obviously they bid it last year to have the supplies on hand, and they said they would not raise their price. So this is pretty much locked in. Hopefully, if anything, we have some more entitlements coming down the road under bill, the bilateral infrastructure legislation. And we'd also be looking at probably some of our regular entitlements in the 24, 25 year. So, and that's 150 and 145 each year. So we'd be having close to $300,000 by 25.
So the same thing would happen, how they've been operating now. We would have to just cover it and then get the payment down the road type of thing.
If we had that issue, we'd have no problem doing that.
It would have to be,
This-
it would be a conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the other part is, this isn't like building a building. There are no surprises here. It's just removing and replacing. There shouldn't be any surprises.
Yeah, let's say,
Famous last words.
We've had two engineering firms working on this since 2019, so we think we've got it pretty tight.
And I just want to say it out loud. I'm all for it, 100%, but I'm just worried if something, some unforeseen thing says we need another $500,000.
And we only have so many millions to go around, so.
Right.
So,
And we will, I believe we have a meeting scheduled with the FAA and the State Aeronautics tomorrow. We can expand on that a little bit with them and see how they feel about it also.
All right, that's the only discussion I had.
no one, any other discussion? Well, we'll call and vote, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Hamry?
Aye.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
President
Probably say yes. Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. Next item, a resolution by the municipal court authorizing agents.
Oh,
Spencer's.
just need approval to change the authorized agents, primarily remove Ms. Knutson from being an authorized agent on the municipal court bank account. So we just ask for approval of the resolution.
Motion by Commissioner Hamry.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hatch. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The Renaissance Zone project, is that, Rob, is that your babe?
Yep.
Okay.
So just have a project, there's a memo in your packet with a recommendation from the Renaissance Zone Authority to approve a project for a lease agreement. It's for Shep Family Chiropractic, leasing the property or leasing office space on College Drive. It would result in a income tax credit is what it would result in for 5 years.
Income tax. Okay, I was reading it as something else then. Okay.
I had the opportunity of speaking with her locally in town, and some of the things that they have coming up is amazing. Some of the things she's bringing into our community. So anything that could help that business, I think is a great thing for the city.
So just recommend approval, need approval before it goes to the state.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hatch.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pierce. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is a 5-year exemption improvements on residential structures. Is that your
That's
house?
me as well. So we have 2 properties where there was significant improvements done to the homes. They've applied for property tax credit or exemption. So what it does is it would, if approved, it would exempt the value of the improvements on those properties for a period of 5 years. And we recommend approval for both.
There's nothing out of the ordinary. I'll make a motion to approve the property tax exemptions.
Commissioner Robbins moved. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Pierce. Any discussion? In no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, the second reading of ordinance or annexation of 14th Street Northeast and 14th Avenue Northeast. Okay,
This is the second reading for the ordinance. Current city limits follow the center line of 14th Street, going out to the Four Corners, which is 14th Avenue. And then also following the center line of 14th Avenue, coming back towards the city. Basically, Ruger Park is in the city, but this annexation would be covering a handful of parcels that would cover the 33 feet line north of the center line of the road on the north side of 14th Street, all the way up to the Four Corners. And then the 33 feet line easterly of the center line of 14th Avenue, basically a parcel on the north side of the cemetery. With that, it'll all be within city limits and on our urban roads program. And then the next agenda item talks about some work that we plan to do and utilize federal funding for the improvements to those roadways.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading.
okay. Moved by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Hamry. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Cost participation agreement, city project 230101. Mike?
The cost participation maintenance agreement is a standard agreement that we receive from the Department of Transportation related to projects that are utilizing federal funding for their improvement or development. With that, to improve 14th Street Northeast and 14th Avenue, we're looking at a project cost of about $700,000 as outlined in the memo. And with that, we have access of nearly $550,000 in federal funds. And that would leave about $150,000 locally to make those improvements. We all are aware of the condition of Midco Road, especially at times in the spring and summer, based on, the entire design is really almost set up to fail. The way the base of the roadway is very poor. You have standing water adjacent to it from the dams or River Park, things like that. So we're hoping to do those improvements. With that, the plans are complete. The bid opening will be conducted through the Department of Transportation's bid opening system. And right now that bid opening is scheduled for May 12th. And once we have that bid opening, we'll evaluate the bids, make a recommendation on the award based on the bids that are received. So right now I recommend the City Commission approve the cost share participation maintenance agreement with the Department of Transportation.
I'll make a motion on that, Mayor.
Commissioner Hamry,
I'll second.
Commissioner Pierce. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Citizen comment. Nobody signed up for anything? You're just here as an interested party? Okay, Sean. Informational items. We have in the 2023 quarter economic data. If you've taken a look at that, Spencer, any comments on it?
Say state aid's up for this first quarter. Sales tax, and I think it's important to stress the city's portion of the sales tax because the increase, the 10% goes to the park district. So we've collected a lot more, but as far as what the city is realizing, just a little under, but it's all in the first quarter, and it's all the logistic as to when the money is actually collected and what months they're from.
Does that, when you get this quarter, does that come with the online sales tax too, or does that come at a different?
I believe it's everything.
Is everything?
It's everything, yeah. And then restaurant tax up a little bit, but overall, I think we're good for the first quarter. And then also included is the investment portfolio quarter one update, just a note of all the CDs and the U.S. Treasury that we have. And a lot of them are paid semi-annually, so once every 6 months. So monthly ones are reflected, and the semi-annual ones should come next quarter.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioner?
No, I like that on that page in there.
Yeah, good. Okay, now we have a motion to pay a list of bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills as listed.
Commissioner Pierce,
Second.
second by Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion? None being, roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins? Aye. Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Henry?
Aye.
Commissioner Ash?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye. Motion carries. And anything else to come before the commission? If not, meeting adjourned. Go Twins.